Alright, so I'm going to show you how to replace an existing floodlight on your house with a new one. And I just picked one up at the local hardware store that's pretty similar to the one that's up there. And they're not too hard to replace, but if you don't know what you can do, what you're doing, it can be a little scary. Always make sure that the power is off to the light. Usually use a separate light switch inside the house, or best course of action too is if you're not sure, you can always shut off the main power in the house. And doing anything electrical, then you know there's no power at all to it. So we're gonna go get a ladder and we'll go up there and take apart the old light and we'll connect the new light up. The first thing you're gonna want to do on your old light is to undo this bolt and the bolt under it if there's two bolts holding it in, and that way you can take this whole housing off. This one has a flat blade screwdriver, so you should be able to just take the top and the bottom one off. Alright, here's a quick tip for you guys. This bottom bolt was like rusted in there, and it has a flathead screwdriver head on it. It was just chewing itself apart, so before I really destroyed it, I got a set of like alligator vice grips, and I clamped those onto the bolt. And now, as you can see, that'll allow me to turn it out of there and not to destroy that bolt head anymore. So I'm up on the ladder and we'll continue on with that. Yep, I just dropped my alligator clips. But I'm going to take that bolt out and the top one, and we'll continue on. Nothing's ever easy when you're up against this stuff, so I'd like to show you what happened. Alright, so when you take the light off, you'll see a couple of wires. There's like black wire and then the white wire, and then there's like a ground wire in there, and the old gasket for the old light. Our new floodlight came with a brand new gasket, so that's basically all you do is take the new light and match up the white wire with the white wire, the black to the black, and connect your ground to a ground screw inside. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. Alright, so on our new floodlight, there's a green wire which is ground, and then here again, here's a black wire, so you're going to hook that to the black wire on the house, and then here's a white wire, so you're going to hook that with the twist ties to a white wire coming out of the house too. These are already spliced for us. If yours doesn't happen to be for some reason, I do have a video that shows you how to splice wire, and I'll add a link on to this video for it so you can check it out. It's pretty easy to do, and all you need to do that are simple wire splicers like this, or wire cutters. So here's the new gasket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the new gasket on, so when we go up on the ladder, don't have to fiddle with that. And that is through, and I'm going to go up and make a test fit to make sure that the bolt holes line up, and we can kind of just go up there and hook up these wires to where they go. Also, while you're up here, check on the electrical box itself, make sure it's secure. This one was a little loose, so I tightened these screws up, and I really secured it up quite a bit. To that side, this side, get that all. So now it doesn't move at all. What I did earlier too, and this is still in good shape, is I silicone sealed the top of this box so no water drips down inside of it. The gasket that comes supplied with the kit will actually help keep this area sealed as well. So a couple other things to look out for while you're doing this. Alright, so before I go back up on the ladder, I'm kind of prepping the wire a little bit. For the ground, there's a screw in my junction box that this needs to loop around. So to make things easier, while I'm not up on the ladder and I'm down on the ground, I made a little hook on the ground wire. So I can hook it around the screw and then screw the screw in with the other hand, and it'll make it a lot easier than trying to screw in a straight piece of wire. Plus, it'll give it more grounding surface around the screw. Alright, so now I have my wires all wire tied in the order that they're supposed to be in. Our ground wire is hooked inside in the screw inside the box. So now all you need to do is that gasket's in place, get some bolts and bolt them to the bolt holes back on this junction box. So after you have your bolts in place to secure the light on our model here, there's one up top here, one over here on the side. So the gasket is in place, those bolts are buttoned up. Now what we can do is you can kind of set a motion sensor. Yours is equipped with one of these. If it's not, you can skip this part. So we've got that kind of aimed straight out. And what you can do is there's a little lock nut right above it. Just twist it with your hand, and that'll like kind of lock it into position for you. And now it's nice and secure and it won't move. What I've got to do next is I've got to take this piece of glass off and put the halogen bulb in it, but before I do that I'm going to get a set of gloves. Okay, so when you're putting your halogen bulb into place, these little ends are spring-loaded, and they kind of spring in and spring in the other way, then they hold tension against the light. So when you put your halogen bulb in, you know, wear gloves like I've got here, even white gloves, take one end of the halogen bulb, press in on it, and then you should be able to get the other end into the other spring-loaded side, and then that'll hold it in place. And once your bulb is in place, you're going to want to put the glass back on. Alright, so now we have our glass back on, and on this model there's a gasket under the glass. If you have a gasket, excuse me, under the glass, make sure it's nicely into the channel so the water gets in and burns out your light. And there's two, on ours there's two clips, one on each side, so you kind of come up easy like that, and they clip down, make sure that the glass is safely in place. And then once that's done, you should be able to reposition your light. There's a screw right here, and when you tighten on that screw, let's see if I can show it. There it is. That screw will help hold the light exactly where you need it, and if you loosen it up, you can point the light up or down. Then once it's in the ideal spot, tighten up on that screw, and it'll stay in place. So that's it. We have a brand new floodlight hooked onto the house with the motion detector, and I hope this helped you throughout. Please subscribe to my channel.